Time. That's not a strike. I'm not going to hear it, Scott. It's not a strike. That's not a strike. Hey, that's your warning right there. That's your warning right there.
Timeout.
I know. That's why you're not going to argue balls and strikes.
No way that was a strike.
What'd you say, Scott? What'd you say?
On behalf of the entire NCAA, I'm Tom Heiler, and I welcome you to another exciting year of NCAA baseball. These videos are produced annually to help umpires at each level of NCAA baseball to improve everyone's ability to effectively communicate and better relate with both players and coaches. Conference coordinators and assigners across the country are unified in their message that being able to handle the toughest of situations continues to be the single most important ingredient while umpiring. This year, we'll divide the audience into 4 groups, with each group being responsible for putting together an outline detailing their vision on how each situation might have been handled better. In the clip you have just seen, it is always in the best interest of the game of baseball to get every call correct. For this reason, Appendix E allows for communication among umpires for this purpose. However, there are strict guidelines and procedures to be followed in order to implement. Some calls will not result in an umpire conference because the rules do not allow it or it involves a judgment call. Some calls will not result in an umpire conference because the calling umpire is 100% confident in his judgment and view of the play. Some calls will not result in an umpire conference because the calling umpire has had the best look at the play. Coaches need to understand that requests for umpire conferences should be done only in special circumstances, and also to understand that the request may be denied. A coach does not have the ability within the rules to demand an umpire conference, and conferences should not be held just to appease a coach. Umpires should seek help on reversible plays in which they may have erred by not seeing a crucial element of the play. For some plays, umpires already utilize communication techniques to let a partner know that he may have additional information. In the clip you just watched, this umpire, in my opinion, knew that he got the call correct and also knew that no other umpire on the field had any additional information or had a better look for that matter. This umpire gave in to a coach's demand to go for help and did so just to appease the coach. Stand your ground.
Ball's on the ground, ball's on the ground.
Foul ball. Foul ball.
2 strikes on it. There were 2 strikes. He fouled the ball off. That wasn't a bunt?
What? Did you have to get help?
They're saying it was a bunt foul.
Don't matter, the ball's on the ground.
Or was it a bunt with 2 strikes? Was it a bunt? I just have a check swing.
Yeah, I don't think he bunted at it.
Okay.
I don't think he bunted at it.
The coach is saying that it was a bunt foul ball.
That's what it looked like
Yeah,
to me.
that's what it looked. From center field, it looked like he squared and bunted.
It looked like a bunt attempt to me.
Bunt attempt, foul ball, he's out.
Correct.
Yeah.
If it's strike 2, yes.
Bunt attempt, he's out.
This last clip took place during the 2011 College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. I think we all would agree that several situations took place during this play sequence and that there was a lot of judgment decisions that needed to be made. First, did the batter offer the pitch on his attempted bunt? Next, did the bat come in contact with the pitch? Third, was the ball caught or trapped by the catcher? Lastly, if the batter's bunt attempt did offer the pitch, then the batter would be out because it was done so with 2 strikes. Certainly a lot to think about on this play, and in a perfect scenario, the home plate umpire would have ruled initially correct on all of the above-mentioned items. Overall, I thought the crew did a pretty good job on this play. It was obvious after listening to both the home plate and the third base umpire that the element of the batter bunting with 2 strikes did not quickly process with these 2 umpires. From an NCAA standpoint, the only thing that could have been done better under these circumstances was for the home plate umpire to get the entire crew together initially. It did end up happening, and in this case, the best information to resolve this situation came from both the first and second base umpire. This is why when the crew gets together, you get the entire crew together. Overall, a pretty good job of taking their time and ultimately getting this play correct.
Oh! 3-1! The ball's down and in. Time. That's not a strike. I'm not going to hear it, Scott. It's not a strike. That's not a strike. Hey, that's your warning right there. That's your warning right there.
Timeout.
I know. That's why you're not going to argue balls and strikes.
No way that was a strike.
What'd you say, Scott? What'd you say?
What did they do, Scotty?
Step out a second.
Step off.
Play.
He's all right.
Oh!
to have a word with Scotty, maybe. Yeah, don't get a little bit.
You guys ready? I understand you still can't argue balls and strikes, okay? I'm working with, hang on, let me talk.
Get along.
I'm working with Jacob, okay? Okay? That ball's down, okay? He and I have been on every pitch but one, okay?
I know you won't miss it more, but
All right.
it probably was a ball.
Okay,
Got it
all right, let's roll. Hey! Ball. Well, Mike, like I told you, here's the deal. I got a lot of respect for you. And hey, let me talk. Okay, so Scott's hollered on 3 or 4 pitches earlier. I'm working with Jacob. We had one pitch that he asked me on. It was probably close. Okay. All right.
What's Scott saying to you? Like, that's a good pitch?
And I'm looking at where is that? You know, and I'm telling Jacob I got that ball in.
See, I never heard him say where.
Okay.
Is that Scott saying
Yeah,
that?
yeah. You know.
Say when I run beside you though, just say, hey Mike, listen, Scott's.
Okay, look, but I've had you guys enough to know. I'm gonna work with Jacob on where pitches are in or out, up or down, and all that.
Okay.
Like I say, we've had 1 or 2 that's there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you want me to do the clock?
It's always seemed to
No,
be
so-
quick
'cause
running
they
the
run it
ball
anyway.
strikes. I just don't know whether it's us or
Going that, I think there's a leak.
I don't know. Maybe y'all don't. Maybe y'all don't like me.
No, you don't like us.
Like I told you, I got a lot of respect for you.
Here is another clip from last year's Division I College World Series. A pretty good set of play sequences for most of us to learn something from. I think we all would agree that most of the elements of this play have happened to all of us at some time during our career. There are several different items of this sequence that I would like to address. First, there is no doubt that this bench needed to be addressed and ultimately a warning issued. I thought this umpire did an outstanding job of addressing the arguing of the pitch and also issuing a much-needed warning. Additionally, the umpire did a great job of keeping the coach in the game after the warning was issued. Obviously, something was said by the coach after the warning was issued that perhaps could have led to an ejection. The umpire responded by saying, "What did you say?" A very good technique in this situation for a perhaps borderline comment. Also, it should be noted that this umpire did a great job of not going towards the coach's dugout and looking like the aggressor. He stayed completely within the dirt circle of the home plate area during the entire sequence. Next, the pitching coach went to the mound and was certainly waiting for the home plate umpire to come to the mound. Now, we all know that the rule says you can't leave your position to argue balls and strikes, and going to the mound is certainly a tactic by the coaches used to circumvent this rule. The home plate umpire certainly had the right to quickly say, by rule, you're not allowed to leave your position to argue balls and strikes. You've already been warned, and if you continue, you will be ejected. I think in this situation that the umpire made a good choice to discuss the situation and did so because the coach was civil about it. Both the coach and the umpire made their point respectfully, and both left the mound with the entire situation behind them. Had either of the two coaches from the dugout, once the umpire returned to the home plate area, chose to take an additional jab at the umpire, then the umpire should have quickly ejected the offender. During the between innings break, the head coach now decided to chat with the home plate umpire. Again, this was done professionally by both individuals. This type of situation often takes place under these circumstances and can be done so as long as the coach is civil about the situation. It can be used as an opportunity to put an end to the entire situation. Remember, the warning is still in effect, and if the same team starts up questioning pitches the next half inning, another warning should not be issued and an ejection would be warranted.
A little bit of noise, but not enough, and that was that. You talked about all the runs in one inning. It happened in that inning.
Yeah, 5-run inning in a 5-3 win. Then a 4-run inning tonight in a 4-2 lead for Florida State as we play here in the top of the 8th inning. It'll be Jace Boyd leading off, followed by Rafael Lopez and then Stuart Tapley.
There was a 15 to 20 mile an hour wind blowing in, which was part of the reason why the outfield was playing so shallow in that game. But that was a very strange play that really opened the floodgates for Florida State. The ball off of Panteliotis kicks it in the foul territory. Mannix picks it up, hits the runner, and a 2-run score.
Got him, chased one away.
Nice changeup right there. Gets a good hitter like Boyd. Just looking to just kind of turn that over. Actually, it looked like more like a fastball that had some run on it.
You know, it's part of the unique part of baseball right there. You're seeing the team that has struck out 8 times lead over the team that's received 7 walks.
How about that? And the gods of baseball usually don't let you walk 7 and only give up 2 runs. Something weird usually happens.
Mike Martin out to talk to Rafael Lopez.
Yeah, one of the reasons you want to do is slow down that pitcher's rhythm. Maybe that's why he came out. Because
Zunino framed that one, but he didn't get the call there.
Kevin O'Sullivan halfway out of the dugout here.
One-two delivery. Now 2-2.
You know what Mike Martin did, he went out there and he slowed the pace of this inning up. And with this 20-second clock, you've got to be granted timeout right there, and I guess he was.
And that's the first FSU hit since the 4th inning. 12 straight Seminoles had been retired without a hit, and Kevin O'Sullivan is going after the home plate umpire, Danny Everett.
Well, one of the things he's going to ask probably is why did you let Mike Martin go out there and do it in the middle of an at-bat when my pitcher is ready to go and we got a 20-second clock? Why did you allow him to break the rhythm of my pitcher when the whole idea is we're putting clocks out in stadiums to move the game along?
Eight base hits for Florida State. Stuart Tapley makes his way to the plate now. There's a look at the newly installed 20-second clock,
which is a moot point right now because the runner's on base and it doesn't work. But that's what Kevin O'Sullivan's argument is. We're trying to move this game along, and we're having coaches conferences out there. Mike Martin did a very smart move on his part because Miranda was in a groove when he called that timeout. Kevin O'Sullivan's argument is, why did you grant it?
Yeah, you'll usually see a guy come out with men on base and then the clock is not in play. But here, 1 out, nobody aboard.
Sure.
It really did. It was a timeout.
It impacted the at-bat. There's no question about it. 2 quick strikes, and all of a sudden the pace of the game got slowed down, which is not the purpose of the 20-second clock. Smart move by Mike Martin. Look, he got away with it, changed the course of that at bat.
And that hits Tapley. Tapley not real happy.
No, and maybe, going back to last inning, there was some chirping between Mirande and Ramsey, and it seems like it may be carrying over to this inning.
Well, you wouldn't think you'd want to hit a guy in the 8th inning when you're trailing by 2 runs.
Wouldn't have a runner on first base.
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
Get him down the scoring position, absolutely not. But as the hitter, Tapley, he's not thinking about it at the time. He got hit with a pitch. He saw the chin music to Ramsey, and he's thinking, well, he's coming after me, which in fact that certainly would not have been the move there.
No, Mike Martin having a discussion with Randy Watkins, the first base umpire, as Kevin O'Sullivan chats with the home plate umpire, Danny Everett.
And the only thing you would think right here is Mike Martin says, all right, he threw 2 up and in at my one hitter, and he just hit this guy. Can I at least get a warning? You're assuming that's what he's saying. Of course, the umpires understand this was not necessarily the time to be throwing at anybody. And if this was 8-1, in this, then you'd say, you know, maybe that was a purpose pitch. But the last thing you want to do is put a runner in scoring position here.
Yeah, with the game in the balance. And after all that, that is the end for Nick Miranda as Kevin O'Sullivan has taken the ball. And he'll place it into the right hand of Tommy Toledo, who trots in from the Gator bullpen. There's a look at Miranda going off. Gators will have their 4th pitcher coming in. We'll sort it all out in just a moment.
Florida State was ahead in this sequence 4-2 and came up to bat. The defense quickly got the first batter out and got ahead 0-2 quickly on the next batter. Although the 20-second clock is running with no runners on base, the head coach of the offensive team certainly was within his rights to come out to home plate and take a charged offensive conference with his hitter. There is no doubt that the head coach did this to break up the rhythm of the pitcher, who was doing quite well, but was certainly within the rules to do this. The first pitch after the time out was a borderline pitch. Obviously, the defensive head coach thought that the rhythm of the home plate umpire was also broken up. He came completely out of the dugout arguing the pitch in this situation and probably should have been immediately ejected for leaving his position to argue balls and strikes. This exact situation has been a point of emphasis with the NCAA in recent years. At the very, very least, a warning should have been issued to the coach for leaving the dugout in this situation. A coach does not have the right to come out of the dugout to argue check swings or pitches. They must stay in the dugout. Now, with a very hostile defensive team knowing that the rhythm has been slowed down by the coach coming out and not getting the benefit of a close pitch, the home plate umpire allowed for the batter, with no runners on base, to call time to again slow down the rhythm of the pitcher. This is not allowed under the rules. This timeout should not have been granted unless the pitcher was holding in a set position and freezing. This was not the case. Umpires must enforce the rules of the game and should be held accountable for the misapplication of these rules. Obviously, after giving up the hit, the head coach came out to discuss this exact point with the umpire. There are several items that the coach could have been arguing. If the coach was arguing the strike zone, he should have been immediately ejected. If he was arguing why the umpire gave the batter time, well, he had every right to argue this. The head coach for Florida State was well within his rights to request the offensive timeout that took place first. In the last sequence, it's very debatable whether the pitcher tried to hit the batter or not. A team down 2 runs in the 8th inning is not usually a time that a pitcher would try to hit a batter. But I think under these circumstances of everything that had taken place, that the home plate umpire did a great job of issuing a warning to both teams for throwing at the hitter. I think this is an excellent time to utilize this tool and to help prevent anything further from happening. A good explanation from the umpire in this situation would be to tell the coach, I'm not 100% sure that your pitcher threw at the batter, but I'm not going to allow anyone out here to get hurt, and I don't want the other team to retaliate. I am issuing this warning to prevent anyone from getting hurt in this game.
51 appearances now, his 15th of this season. A guy that set TCC records. Inside pitch, got him. Or was it a foul ball? It hit the bat and not the hand. And now Pete Dunn will have a conversation with home plate umpire Mark Humphreys. I think Zach got hit on the hand. He is in some kind of discomfort as he steps away and lets his head coach handle the conversation. Watch it again. Did it hit his hand or did it hit the bat?
I think it hit his hand, but
well, the three umpires will get together. That's a hard way to take a foul ball. The umpires get together and discuss. Home plate umpire Mark Humphreys called it a foul ball. We've looked at it and listened to it. And Mark Humphreys will go back and explain to Pete Dunn and batter Kyle Zach that that was a foul ball.
Meanwhile, he's being tended to by the trainer.
Well,
and Pete Dunn is saying, do you need to see blood to get him first base or what?
Now, Humphreys has got to go back out, call his umpire crew together. Yeah. That hit him. That hit him on the hand. Now, it's got to hit the hand before it hits the bat barrel, right?
Yeah, otherwise it'd be a foul ball. The other point is you can't swing at it if you get hit while swinging at it. But if you watch, he was trying to bunt and he clearly pulled the bat back out of the way, so he was not offering at the pitch.
Well, they're going to award him first base. And now Mike Martin's going to leave the home dugout. He'll have a few words. Mark Humphreys has heard it from both sides, hasn't he? Now Humphreys going to bring in both Landon Davis and Kevin Osmond to give his explanation to the Seminole skipper. We're at the top of the 10th inning, a tie ball game at 4-4, and the Stetson Hatters have their first two batters aboard.
And meanwhile, Daniel Bennett, you know, you look at the last, he has pitched now, Gene, in 6 consecutive ball games for FSU. Sunday BC, Tuesday Florida, all 3 games against Virginia, and now this game. And he's given up runs in the last 4 consecutive games. And here he is right now with nobody out and runners at first and second. And if you're wondering about McGee, what happened with Mike McGee is Mike Martin had to use a double switch to get him to bat there. So he moved him from the mound to left field, replacing Seth Miller. So last inning, he came up to bat in the left fielder spot. And the reason Florida State didn't pinch run with Taiwan Easterling is he was already inserted in the lineup at that point, too.
Runners at first and second. Conversation is over between skipper Mike Martin and home plate umpire Mark Humphreys.
This sequence brings up some very interesting points. The decision was for the home plate umpire to determine whether the batter was hit by the pitch or whether it was a foul ball. The home plate umpire initially ruled a foul ball. It is critical in these situations for the home plate umpire to take his time and be sure to take in all of the elements of the play before making his final decision. The batter's initial reaction must be taken into account as well. As previously mentioned in this video, there are calls by an umpire that he cannot go for help on because no one else on the crew will have had a better look. This is certainly one of those times. This point was stressed during last year's clinic. The base umpires, 90+ feet away, will not be able to offer any additional information. Unfortunately, the crew did get together and did decide to stick with the foul ball call. Then the coach showed the home plate umpire the player's hand, and at this point saw evidence that the batter may have been hit. The crew got back together again and then reversed their initial call. I think we all would agree that this situation was not handled well. The home plate umpire needs to slow down, take in all the elements before rendering his decision. The crew should not get back together on this play. Lastly, the home plate umpire, after making his initial foul call, could have made his change to a hit batter on his own after the hand was shown to the umpire.
now, and he'll lay one down and hit him, and they're going to say he's foul or fair, because I think the ball might have hit him out in fair play.
Third base umpire calling it foul.
If that's the case, it'll be an out. Because I think the umpire at home plate is out.
No, he's calling him out.
They're going to call him out. They're going to say the ball hit him out of the box on the bunt, and here comes George Horton to have a discussion about it. Of course, if the ball hits you outside of the box, another look at it, you're out. I mean, he's not out of the box. It hits him there.
No, he's not. He's in the box, no question. It's an impossible call for the plate umpire, I think. And the guy at third is the guy who really has to make that call because he has the best look. And it looks to me like he's the guy that called him out.
It's too bad they can't use replay.
We've got to have a conversation about that one.
I think they're having the discussion about whether or not, it was fair or foul, not the discussion about whether it hit him in the box or not.
Right.
He was in the box. I think that's where they probably missed the call. You see the ball hits him right there, and his feet are still in the box. So that should be a foul ball, and Aaron Jones should be still at bat.
It's really not even a close call. Actually, the ball hopped directly up into his belly.
Matter of fact, the only way it went fair is because it hit him.
Yeah, they're staying with their call, which you almost have to do. If you change it, I mean, there's no real reason to change it. Somebody called him out. He's pretty much got to stay out.
And now the umpire is going after Horton, who's standing in the dugout.
Uh-oh, there's a warning right there. And
he's giving him a little bit of a rabbit ear situation because Horton's not even on the field. He's in the dugout. The umpire stopped on his way back to the plate and went over to the dugout to talk to Horton. Wichita State got a warning last night. You don't want to see a bad call get exacerbated by, tossing a coach off of a bad call.
Yeah, that's one of those two where Coach Horton probably had as good a look at it from where he stands as anybody in the ballpark. He could see where that ball bounced.
They split a two-gamer with Cal State Fullerton last week. 2-2 pitch with 2 outs. There goes the runner. Foul.
Oh. Did he toss him?
Did George Horton say something? He just tossed him out of the game?
It looked like he did. I mean, if that's the case,
yes.
I mean, if that's the case, you're going to toss a guy from the dugout?
I mean, come on. That quickly after a foul ball?
I'm sure it was, hey, why wasn't that, a reference of some sort to the previous play they had.
Was it because of the warning and maybe he heard something from the dugout because he'd already given him the warning? Wow.
Here it is. Now watch. Yeah, he's saying, hey, that's the same play where you called my guy out. Now watch the umpire turn around.
Well,
Get out of here.
That's just a quick hook. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, there are times when you're officiating, you need to get, close the ears up a little bit and just not hear certain things. And I don't know. I mean, I just can't imagine throwing a guy out for not even coming out of the dugout.
Home plate umpire Dave Yeast throws out George Horton a second after a foul ball. Boy, this has been a one of those games. There's lots of calls that are critical in the game, and I don't know if I've ever seen anybody thrown out on a foul ball, a second after the guy hit a foul ball because you hollered something from the dugout.
Tell you what, you wouldn't last 2 seconds umpiring in professional baseball, tossing guys out there. Just doesn't happen.
I think you have to give George Horton a lot of credit for not losing his cool there, because there's about 99% of other coaches that would absolutely have lost it with that situation. Give Horton a lot of credit.
Yeah, but he's got to leave right now.
I'm not sure the fans realize that he got tossed.
There he goes, got his stuff. That's what you have to do now in baseball. I mean, you got to be off the field, out of the dugout, out of the premises.
So Coach Andrew Checketts will take over the main coaching duties. But an unbelievably quick hook, and boy, that's a tough one to figure out.
This last video play has a lot of things to talk about that I again think is an opportunity for us to learn from. First, the batter squared around to bunt and bunted the ball down into the ground, and then the ball came back up and hit the batter. Was the batter in or out of the box when he got hit by the ball? This type of play is very difficult at times for the home plate umpire to know because he cannot see through the batter's body to tell exactly at what point the ball hit the batter. Now, the home plate umpire immediately chose to go for help on this to the third base umpire. It appeared that the home plate umpire was working pretty quickly and wanted to get a quick answer to put this call to rest. As previously mentioned in this video, it would have been best for the crew to slow down a bit and get the entire crew together. It appears that the home plate umpire and the third base umpire ultimately ended up agreeing that the batter was hit out of the box, and that's why the home plate umpire turned around and called the batter out. Then, after the head coach came out, we can only speculate that the coach asked the crew to check with the first base umpire. Again, the crew got together and decided to stick with the initial call. As the home plate umpire was going back to home plate, an assistant coach started to take jabs at the home plate umpire and the crew, and you can see that this eventually ended up being a warning issued to the coach. Now, the next half inning came and a very similar play took place, and I think we all know that the coach from the dugout gave another jab to the umpire after a warning had been previously issued. We don't know what was exactly said, but it was enough for the umpire to eject the coach. I admire the home plate umpire in this situation for having the courage to stick to his original warning and not issuing a second redundant warning. In summary, I think the only thing that we could have done better in this clip was for the entire crew to get together the first time on the initial call of whether the batter was in or out of the box when he got hit by the ball. Each of the previously played clips will be available on the Arbiter Sports Central Hub as well as the clinic DVD outside the door with a fully detailed narrative for future use with your local organizations. We hope you enjoyed this year's video, and please do not hesitate to contact me directly should you have any further questions. Have a great season.